Ice cream, logical cream, flavors. Let's make a move, get away, what's your flavor? Tell me what it is again. What you like, get it twice, what's your style? Let's get crazy, let's get lit, let's get wild. Take you out, show you off, what's your flavor? Tell me what it is again. Anywhere in the world, take you miles. Show me the real, you going let it out. Your flavor, vanilla mix on brown cones, rainbow sprinkles on your AP two-tone. I ain't about materials, is habitual for the event.
All right, what's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Igani. We're here on 95 South TV once again. And first and foremost, I got to thank God for this opportunity because I don't never remiss to say thank God for this because He has blessed us so much with this opportunity to be able to do this show. So, secondly, I got to introduce my right hand man, Ace Boom Coon, the one that make everything behind the scenes go the way it's supposed to go. My man, Jacob the Great. What's going on, fam?
Hey, man, what's up, man? Glad to be in the land of the living, man. So we here once again with another great episode.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So today, y'all, we got something a little different that we've never really had on this show before. So this is probably a first time thing that we've ever done, but it's very important, especially in the era that we in right now and in the climate that we're in. So I have this gentleman that I actually met at a car wash maybe about 6 months ago, and we got to talking. And this guy is basically he's a ex trafficker, drug trafficker, did a couple of Fed times to stints in the Feds, and I'm gonna let him tell his story because it's very important because we in a generation where a lot of kids are basically glorifying this lifestyle, and he's gonna tell us a little bit about his world and where he come from. So I'm gonna kind of let him introduce himself first, then we're gonna start asking questions about what his life was during that era, during that time frame. What's going on, Joe?
All right, how you doing, my man?
How you doing?
Anyway, good. How you doing? Anyway, my name's Joe, and I've done 26 years of my life in prison. I'm 56 years old, and all for drug dealing. And it's a scary game out there, and it's I lost a lot,
So basically, so we can get into the story. But what age was it that you actually officially got into the drug business, and where were you living at? What part of the country were you living in?
Okay, I lived in Washington State, and my father had introduced me to a gentleman that had a really good job, and but he had a green thumb. He grew some really good marijuana, and so I picked up ounces of marijuana from this gentleman, and I would take it to school my junior and senior year, go out to the smoking area, and everybody would wait for me because it was the best there was. And I sold marijuana in high school, and we would all get high and go to a wood shop or whatever class the first part was. And so I was a junior in high school. But if you back up a little bit, I lived in Fairbanks, Alaska in 1984, 83. I was a freshman, and I had a job at Big Boy Restaurant, and marijuana was legal up there, and everybody smoked. And oh my goodness! So that's when I basically got started. 15 years old is when I first started using, and probably selling, because my brother, who I moved up there with, had quite a bit of marijuana also, and he went on vacation to the United States down below the lower 48, and I got into his weed and smoked it and sold it, and got in trouble when he got home. Got my ass beat. But it's been a lifestyle for me.
So was it all weed, or did you eventually graduate to the more harder stuff?
I moved up. I got into cocaine, and that was in the 80s. I remember I had some cocaine in my drawer at home graduation night. I did graduate from high school in 1986, and I raced home, and I got a speeding ticket on my way home, and I still had my gown on, but because that cocaine rock was inside my drawer at home, and I had a couple of friends that we wanted to just go out and smoke it, celebrate. But that cocaine was one of the worst drugs that so addictive.
So you were using it? You were using it too?
I was using it too. Yeah, I was at that time, and it was tough. It was really, man. I was broke all the time. It's terrible because you can't make money using cocaine because it's so addictive, But I got off of it when meth came around, like in 95, and wow, that was a wonder drug because I needed the energy because I'm a big guy, and meth gave me energy. It ended up getting me off the coke and ended up giving me a lot of time in prison.
We sobered up. No, we all went to prison.
Yeah. I didn't sober up. I went to prison. I went to prison a lot just for that. And then I got arrested in 2001 by the feds, and I wasn't doing anything federal, but I was selling big quantities, and they had my number.
So stop right there for a sec, because me and Jacob was talking about this earlier. Because we kind of assume, and most people assume, when you get picked up by the feds that you had to be going across state lines selling. So you saying basically you got hit by the feds, but you wasn't crossing state lines selling. So
Correct.
what made them want to take on this case if it was all state?
You know what? That's a good question, and I can guess, take an educated guess, because I've been to prison 2 or 3 times prior to that. I think maybe Washington State was getting tired of me, and said, you know what, we're bringing the big boys up, and the Columbia River Drug Task Force did all the investigation on me, and one federal agent was there the night I got arrested, and he told me, he says, you're looking at a lot of time. I says, I know. I was figuring 10 years in the feds, and he says, if you help us out, we can give you a break on your time. I says, man, this is my backyard. I got to come back here, and these people don't fuck around. They're mafia, and you're going to have to figure that out yourself, because I cannot do that. I said, I'm ready to go. I'm expecting, I knew my time was coming. You're out there running and gunning so hard. You just know it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. They're gonna get everybody. They will get you.
So how much you get? How much did you get caught with?
Okay, so the confidential informant bought 128 grams total from me, and I had a hollowed out tire cleaner can with $3,200 cash and 2 ounces of dope inside. And the confidential informant told them guys that that's where I carry my stuff. And when I got walked up on outside my house, I took that tire cleaner can and threw it in the bed of my pickup. And the FBI agent goes, "What's that?" I said, "Just some tire cleaner." And he reached in and grabbed it. He turned it upside down and felt the weight shift change. And then he took the cap off, and then he went down to the bottom and unscrewed the bottom and took his flashlight and looked in there, and he goes, "What's that?" I said, "That's methamphetamines." He goes, "Is anybody in your house?" We went into my house, and he tried again to get me to, tell him my dealers. But you know what? I just told him, "You know what, dude? I don't even know who my dealers are, because they were so smart. They would come in pairs, and every 3 times one would just drop off and another would come. So I don't know who they are. They don't say their names, but that's what they did." So so it was all good. They did it, smart, I think, but there's just no way to do it.
Okay.
We
Well,
people
stop
get in
right
trouble when
there.
they're top.
Stop right there for a second. We're gonna take a quick break. For quick commercial break, and I'm gonna let Jacob jump in and ask him some questions. We'll be right back on 95 South. Okay, we back. We back here on 95 South TV, and basically, Jacob, you jump in and wait. I know you got some questions. We're here with Joe Nichols, ex-drug trafficker.
Okay, so Joe, man, what's up? What's up? How you doing? And I think he's on mute.
Oh,
Okay, Joe. So, man, would you get into the drug business and seeing this and being in the streets really heavy like that, man? The amount of people that you've seen on narcotics and losing everything, how did that affect you? You know, at all, or did it affect you at all?
Well, I have a couple rules, that I always stick with, and that is women with children,
Hmm.
pregnant women, women with families. I mean, uh, uh, tell to them. But the men, right now, there's so many homeless people out there in the world, and I think they're out there because they'd rather do drugs than live in a house. You know that? I really think that. But I don't like that. You know, it did affect me because you know, I, there's my mother. Hang on. Okay, I just felt that I was a responsible person, but you know, I would set some ground rules, and I would end up breaking those ground rules, and everything went fine until these beautiful women showed up, and oh boy, yeah, it's money, women, power. I mean, it's but now that you ask me that, I got a guilty conscience. Because it does mess up people's lives. It tears lives apart out there. Like I said, look at the homeless population today. Um, it's yeah, but I stacked that cash though, and put it in my mom's drawer in her bedroom, and I got $14,000, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna go tell my mom what I'm doing, and I'm gonna get out of town. And I did. I told my mother I was selling drugs, and I got $14,000 in your top right dresser drawer. Why did I put it in there? Because if I got busted living at my mom's, they wouldn't bother her room. They would just search my areas and stuff. And they toss your stuff. They toss your stuff upside down. They take it apart. Everything. They go right with a fine tooth comb, and they'll find anything. And it's just then you go to prison, and then prison no fun. You miss your family. You miss going out and getting a soda pop, or the simple things in life you miss. That in 12 years, I did 11 years, 43 days on 151 months, and I did my federal time in. I started in Sheridan, Oregon. I went to USP, or not USP. I went to FCI Victorville, California, which is a medium. They shipped me to a really nice place, looked like a college campus. It was Phoenix, Arizona, and I was there for a few years, and worked in a factory and made $1.25 an hour to buy my commissary. And we made good money out there at the factory because the janitors only made 35 cents an hour in the unit. So the factory was a good job, and we made wiring harnesses for like F-18 fighter planes,
Hmm.
and they all go through inspection. It really passed your time. But I got into a fight one day, and I went to the hole, and they shipped me to USP Florence, Colorado. And I tell you what, that's a tough prison. That's a tough
hold right there.
prison.
So the prison in Colorado, is that maximum security, medium security, or is that low level security?
So I believe Florence, Colorado has everything there. They got Supermax too. That's
They
where
got super. Okay.
I was there with Ted Kaczynski. I mean, I wasn't in Supermax, but I was at a USP, which is a United States Penitentiary, which is max. You know, we were locked in our rooms because when the people got out, you know, the races would get and they would fight and they would stab people with homemade weapons. You, yeah, it was terrible there. They put me in a room with uh, this one dude because I don't even know. I'm not very good at the clans or whatever out there, but he was an Aryan guy, and you know, I thought, you know, maybe white guys are Aryan guys. I don't know, but you know, I said, yeah, I'm Aryan. But anyway, yeah, you know, after living in his room a week, you know, I had to move, you know, because I
So you
wasn't his.
wasn't. So you wasn't real familiar with the Aryan Nation at all.
No, I wasn't. You know, and then you got so many, the Norteños, the Sureños, you got the Paisas, you got, I mean, there's, yeah, and then the brothers, they have a few different gangs, you know, but there's a shot caller for each group of people, you know, so you can't go get in a fight in the feds because if you do, it's going to cause a riot. I mean, it's going to be a big. So if you have a problem with somebody, you got to go to your shot caller, and he's going to go to their shot caller, and they're going to talk about it and discipline whoever needs to be disciplined. And it's
So
John
you.
So
Morris
it's
is
more, so it's more organized in the feds. It's a more I guess you could say organized or more
I call it
like it was probably
political.
back in the day. You know,
I call it
when
political
political.
politics.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I call it. Politics, political, very political, because you know, it's you got you just you can just feel the tension. You know, I mean, something was going on in a room between two Hispanic races and that are white and Sereno, and I think they got into a fight in the room or something, and they'd come out of the room, and our whole unit went on a unit brawl. Everybody in that unit was fighting, and the cops come running up, and they threw hand grenades across the floor, stun grenades. They had rubber bullet guns and stuff that they tell everybody, get your house, get your house, get your room. And people that wouldn't go and wanted to keep fighting, yeah, they'd get hit. Yeah, they would be, and then they go around, do body checks, and anybody that's scraped up, you go in the hole, you're getting out of there. Feds have a lot of prisons. There's a lot of federal prisons in the United States. And yeah, it's big. I would never would have known, but yeah, the feds are big. And,
Yeah, I know it was a report back in 2017 where they said they built 43,000 federal prisons and only 4,300 public schools in that particular year.
what was that last part?
I said it was a report in 2017 where they said they built 43,000 federal prisons and only 4,300 public schools.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
which is
amazing.
which
Prisons
is
are going up faster in the schools.
that's
That's
wild,
sad.
man. Yeah, that's
That's
wild.
sad.
Yeah.
So man, with you being out there in the world and getting into selling narcotics, what was the excitement that kept you in? You know what I mean? Why didn't you ever want to quit and be
And
legit?
because, you know, like I said, there's three things that I think most drug dealers enjoy, and that's money, power, and, you know, the messed up part about it is you can get the hottest woman you want. You know, if you got drugs, you can get the hottest woman you want. You pay for her. She'll be right on your shoulder, right on your arm, eye candy. You know, but you know,
But what's the craziest thing? What's the
Not worth it,
craziest
man.
thing? What's the craziest thing like a person, like a female or somebody did on the streets to get drugs from you or somebody that you was dealing with? Like, what's the craziest thing somebody ever did to try to get drugs, or what's the craziest thing you seen while you was on the streets?
Yeah. You know, it's terrible. You know, I mean, the things people do for drugs. You know, it's all evil. You know, look at all of our shoplifting going on. You know, look at these stores. Look at the prices of everything. That's because of drugs, I would believe, because people are out stealing from these stores and trading product that they steal for drugs. And now look who's paying for it. We are. The price of everything just gone up. Stores, Walmart's gonna make their self checkout 7 items or less because people are taking shopping carts in there and getting them. And you know, it's then the prices rise. So you know, I don't know. I lost 4 vehicles. You know, I lost my Toyota pickup. I had a 1998 Toyota that I put a lot of money into, and because I did a drug delivery in that, I lost it. I lost um, a GMC S15 pickup that was I bought for $5,000 for my parents, and I lost it. I lost a 1980 Toyota pickup because I made a delivery in it. I lost 4 vehicles. I lost 4 cars. Selling drugs. They take your car. Yeah, they take your stuff. They take your money. They take it all. And yeah, it's you know. But you know what? I'm getting older now, and I got a fun job. I work at a car wash. You know, and I get to work outside. I have diabetes, and you know, my legs get really sore and stuff. And my mother, and you're gonna have to call my mother until I'm doing an interview. But my mom is trying to call me, bless her heart. Yeah, I hope she's okay.
Okay. Well, we're gonna take a quick no, we're gonna take another quick break and we'll be right back here on 95 South TV. Okay, we back. We back. Well, here we on 95 South TV.
Get
Here
back with
with
it,
ex drug
Kenny.
trafficker Joe Nichols, my man Jacob the Great in the building. So basically, doing the Fed. Okay, let's go back for a second. Your first night in prison, when you that first night. Well, how was the first day? The culture shock of being that first day in prison.
Oh my. You know, I got transferred from the Spokane County Jail. I got transferred to SeaTac. SeaTac Air, not SeaTac Airport, but a SeaTac. God, what is it called? It's called a receiving unit or whatever. But they do have inmates there. Oh my goodness! You know what? They fly airplanes. Oklahoma City has a federal detention center where the airplane lands and you walk off the airplane right into the prison. I think it's Will Rogers Airport. It's yeah, it's there's just so much going on, and you don't know all these people and what they've done, and you could be in prison. Yeah, it is a shock. It is a shock. It's you know, I had a cellie. I moved when I went to Sheridan, Oregon. I had a big Samoan guy cellie, and when I went to orientation, he broke into my locker and took my radio, took my stamps, took my laundry soap, took my headphones, you know, and money. You can only buy a certain amount of stuff per month in there, and it took me a while to build that up. And he took all my stuff, and you know what? I want to go home. You know what? I want to go home. I don't want to. The white boys came over with a cart from the maintenance department, and they fixed my locker, and they expected me to grab a screwdriver or something off their cart and stab that guy up. No way, I wasn't going to do that. I want to go home. I got 12 years. I want to go home and see my family again. I'm not going to kill nobody in here. But I got disrespected for that because I didn't handle my business. And I let that guy steal from me. And all the white boys disrespected me for not stabbing this guy. I don't do that. You know, I didn't get no tattoos in prison. You know, I mean, yeah. So that was tough. And it got tougher. So I went and sat in the shower one night, and I took a razor blade during lunchtime, and I slit my wrist right here up and down, and I wanted to die really bad. I wanted to die. I had one friend, and his name was Donnie, and he said, "Joe, we got to take you to a police officer and get you looked at and get you up to medical." And they took me up to medical, and the guy stitched me up, and they put me on suicide watch. And it's a room with no blanket. It's like a mattress. You don't get your clothes on. You don't get no blankets or nothing, and it's cold in there. And there's an officer that sits there and watches you through a window and plays with his logbook all night long, and says if you roll over or if you eat and when you eat. You know, it's so I got out of there. I transferred. They didn't put me back on the yard because I probably would have had a hard time there. And they transferred me to Victorville, California. And I used a CPAP breathing machine, so I need electricity in my room. And in the feds, you don't have plugins in the wall. They have to run an extension cord into your room every night. They won't let you keep it in there. But yeah, it's my goodness. They put me in this room and they took a locker out, and I needed a locker. The reason they took the locker out is because I use a CPAP machine, and they called it a handicap room. And I said, I need my locker back. I actually got one from the cop that was working that night. But when the manager of the unit came back the next day, he said, "Where'd you get that locker?" I said, "Well, I didn't have one in here." I said, "The officer gave me one." And he goes, "Get that locker out of here." So he was trying to tell me that's a handicap room. By law, a handicap room has to be 15 feet by 15 feet, not a 6x9 inch cell with a locker missing. So I tried to write these guys up and submit it to the warden of the prison, let them know what they're doing to me, and took my locker, put me in a 6x9 room. And anyway, they transferred me again. They sent me to USP Atwater, California, which is a penitentiary. And when I got there, it was a concrete building, full circle concrete building, where you can't get out. It's got towers in the middle, towers on the outside, each corner. Had 7 towers around this place, and they up there with guns and stuff. I went out to the yard, and there was a fight on the yard, and there's a recording that goes off. It says, "Hit the ground," and if you don't hit the ground, you're gonna get shot. That he will shoot you from that tower. And I've seen people get shot because they were messed up in the head, and they were just runners, and they were just running around the track, minding their own business with their headphones on, shot and killed. You know, they don't. Yeah, it's that was at Florence, Colorado. That was a tough prison. That prison was on lockdown more than it was where you can go to outside, go to the library, go to the kitchen and eat. All your food gets delivered to your door. If you want to shower, you got to cuff up, go to the shower, uncuff. You know, it's crazy. Yeah, that was a long time. 12 years is a long time. I did
So
actually 11 years.
how easy? Because I know a lot of people feel like you go in, you get 5 years, you get 10 years, you out. But how easy is it to do something and end up being in there extra 10 years or end up in their life based off of something that you do inside of the prison?
You know what? I seen a guy that was locked up for 12 years. He was getting out in 3 years. And a child molester came on the yard, and he got told to take care of that child molester. And he beat him down, got him off the yard. Freddie ended up, somebody told on him for beating that boy up. They went to the hole. Both of them were in the hole now. Okay, Freddie gets ready to go transfer. That child molester transfers with Freddie. They're in the same room together. Freddie slips his cuffs and he kills that child molester. Kills him right there in the room. And anyway, yeah. So why would my mind don't think like that? You know what? I'm not going to kill nobody. I'm not going to, if I have to fight, I'll fight. But I'm not going to stab nobody. You know, in the penitentiaries, the United States penitentiaries, which is max security, and then you got one more above that, which is super max. Okay, and I did probably half my time in max security, even though I'm a non-violent drug dealer. Okay, I don't have no violence. I have drug dealing charges, and but they give you a management variable, give you more points to put you in a United States penitentiary because they need bodies there. But the people there are just, I don't know, they've been locked up for a long time. They're probably lifers, a lot of lifers in there. They don't care, but that's their home. I could never ever get comfortable in prison. I want to go home every day. Every day I want to go home. I call my mom three times a week, 4 times a week. Sometimes I call her every day. Phone calls were kind of expensive, but yeah, it's terrible. Like I said, they'll get you any time. There's no way to do that. Not in this town.
Jacob, got a question?
Yeah. So at the height of the investigation, when the police was investigating you and stuff like that, man, did you go through any type of police corruption or cop corruption?
I don't believe I did. I believe they were straight up. They didn't plant nothing. I'm getting feedback. Yeah, they. Yeah. No corruption. They did their job. They got a snitch and gave the money to the snitch, and he made buys off me. The snitch brought the dope back to him. They did it again and again. They did it several times, and I don't know why. Because the last time I got busted, I sold $40 worth of dope, 1 gram, and I got 60 months in prison, and I lost my truck for 1 gram. I said, "You guys only got 1 buy on me. That's all we need for you, Nichols." Okay.
So for them to say that to you, so this means that they already have been watching you for quite some time.
Yeah.
And with the informant, did you actually know the informant, or was it just a random buyer?
I did. My partner here where I'm at his house right now, we both went to school with this guy. His name was John Kaufman, and he changed his last name to Winward. I did know him, and that's terrible, man, because oh boy, I always pick my spots too, but the Columbia River Drug Task Force used him, and he gave him money to, so it's crazy.
Let me ask you this question real quick, Joe.
Okay.
So, I heard Freeway. I've heard the Freeway Ricky Ross say this, and I don't know if you know the story of Freeway Ricky Ross. He was basically selling, probably making $100 million in his life, probably plus his lifetime of selling drugs in California. He actually was working with the
Cartel?
government. The government, they actually was fronting. They was actually giving him his drugs because this was
Government
during
gets their cut, I'm
the war.
sure they do.
Yeah, they were the ones giving him the money for the war to basically pay for the war at that time. And he got snitched on by his own. He got snitched on by his connect, which was like a Colombian or a cartel guy. He got snitched on by his connect, but he said at first he was bitter, but he ended up realizing that snitching is part of the game. So did you kind of feel that way, or did you feel like bitter to this day about being snitched on?
Well, I was bitter for a while. I just, it's happened to me several times. My next door neighbor lived 2 houses up. he would come down and use with me. He would buy from me, and I don't know, something had to happen to him because he told me, he says, "Hey Joe, I need a gram later for $40, or a gram later. How much is it going to be? $40." And anyway, I swore, you get it. And I've been thinking about that. On the 40, he had the $40, and
You breaking up.
Are you breaking up a little bit? But while he coming back, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're right back here on 95 South TV. Hopefully we'll be able to get Joe back. He was breaking up.
They shut off your vehicle.
Okay, there we go.
And I wonder why. And then another guy comes up and says, "You're under arrest for a narcotics investigation." And they took me to jail. They took my truck. They got a search warrant for my truck. I bailed out of jail before they searched my truck because I did have dope in my truck. And I knew that they were going to rearrest me again on possession with intent when they found it in my truck. And so I kind of hid out a little bit, and I went to an auction and bought a car for my girlfriend. And one afternoon we was going to take off to Yakima. I was going to go to my court dates, but I just didn't want to go back to jail for that other warrant because now it costs money to get out. And anyway, so we was going to go to Yakima, and just out of the blue, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. We decided to leave. We're going down the road, and we let this silver vehicle go in front of us because we're at a stop sign, and traffic's going the other direction. Well, guess what? That silver vehicle pulled up to the stoplight to take a left turn. I pulled up beside it to go straight. And when the light turned green, I went straight. That vehicle that was going to take a left turn went straight. And it was the drug task force right there. How could that happen? And they already searched my truck. So they're yelling at me. They're in an undercover car that has no lights or nothing, just a regular car. They're yelling at me to pull it over. And I told them, "F you, I don't know who you are." And I kept going. I didn't speed or nothing. I just kept going. And I tried to get out on the highway, and they got on their telephone. So they called for backup, and they got me. They got me and brought a dog in to go around my vehicle, see if there's anything in there. And my girlfriend had a broken piece of glass in her purse that she saved. I don't know why, but the dog did alert on that. And yeah, she got in trouble for possession of drug paraphernalia. And I went to jail. So that was it. No more getting out now.
Okay.
So
how has life been for you after prison?
You know what? I this was all COVID era, okay? COVID. So everything was different during that era in prison because I was there when it started. They started painting lines on the sidewalk outside. We didn't know what was going on. Nobody told us nothing. But anyway, it went pretty quick because when I got out of this receiving unit, I went to another medium security prison in Conneaut, Washington, called Coyote Ridge. And I was there for like 6 months, and then I went to work release. And they have a new program called the GRE, which means graduated reentry, where they will put an ankle bracelet on you, and you go out into the community and get yourself a job. And if you continue to do good and don't deviate or anything, they will give you outing times to where you can write down your schedule a week in advance and give it to them. And say you want to go to the grocery store, you want to go to the park for an hour and a half with your dog. Hey, I did over a year on that program, and I saved money. I lived at home with my mom. I worked for Lowe's. I wanted flowers for Lowe's. Yep. I was going to do load things up for the people that do internet orders and stuff. And but they needed somebody to water their flowers. And what an easy job, right? And I made that $17 an hour watering flowers. And anyway, I had a identity theft on my record because when I was selling drugs, somebody said, "Hey, Joe, would you like some gas for half price?" I say, "Heck yeah." So we go to a gas station. They give me their little credit card they got. And I said, "What's your PIN number?" They tell me the PIN number. And it authorized the gas pump. And I pumped gas and got $29 worth of gas. And 3 months later, a detective comes to my house and says that I'm under arrest for identity theft. I said, "What are you talking about? Identity theft?" I still don't know what's identity. They said, "You used a stolen credit card at Safeway. We got your vehicle on camera on this day, and we seen you put the card in. We seen you put gas in your vehicles." I said, "Okay, I did do that, yes." I end up going to court, and I'm still out there doing my thing. And I tell the judge on sentencing day, I says, "Your Honor," I says, "I would like to pay full restitution to the victim. Whatever money's owed to the victim, I'd like to pay that today so she don't have to worry about." And she had $200 in her purse, I guess, that this guy took. And what else did she have? His gas, my gas. It came up to like $400 and something. And I paid it. I paid every bit of the restitution. And hoping the judge would be lenient on me. And that was a jail sentence. So I did 6 months up in Okanagan County Jail for identity theft. And then I lost my job at Lowe's because identity theft is a crime of dishonesty. Yes. So that's why they let me go, because I put it on my background check. You do it on the computer, and then you send it into them, and they knew I was on an ankle brace. So they knew I was a drug dealer, ex-drug dealer. They let me work, but I have a crime of dishonesty, which is identity theft, and that's one of the crimes that you're not allowed to have if you work for Lowe's. So
okay.
Well, Joe, I appreciate you coming on here. Before we get out of here, Jacob, go ahead and do our drop, and then we'll close it out.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in with 95 South TV. And we are here, and we are bringing some of you the best guests, the amazing backstories, the trending stories, the breaking news stories. And stay tuned. We're coming to a TV screen near you. Thank you for tapping in once again with the 95 South podcast and TV network, produced by Eddie Jones III, Jacob W. Anson II, and executive producers are Kimi, Kaye, and Senior G. Thank you once again.
All right, Joe, I definitely appreciate you coming on here and giving us your time and your story, or whatever. You've been through a lot, but I just wanted people to hear that and to see that it's not all glamorous and glitz when it comes to this street and this drug game. And I'm hoping I can get you back on the near future when we have other topics, just to kind of just discuss these things further. But I wanted to initially get your story, and I appreciate you for coming on.
You're certainly welcome. You guys, you personally, our conversation was about it. You're a likable person, and you tell me stuff, and I'm a talkative person, so I like working around people. And anyway, yeah. So this is pretty neat. Like I said, it's not a glamorous life. I mean.
All right. Well, appreciate
really
you, and
terrible being away from
yeah. Well, appreciate you for coming on. You have a blessed night, and we'll talk. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
Ice cream. Brown skin girl, and she knew I was out to go and clear my mind. The girl she's